boy. Shining like a bad boy, damn. What is going on, everybody? Kamusta kayo lahat mula sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, or wherever the heck you are on the planet? This is your one and only JOAT, the place to be for any niche, every genre, and all generations. I am your master of ceremony, D to the E to the LRO, aka JDR, aka the extraordinary introvert and extraordinary indeed right there. So I hope y'all enjoyed that cover. Y'all should have seen that coming by now. No K-pop episode is complete without a cover from yours truly. So before we start, let me give my usual shout outs, just like in the previous episode we did with Miss Noonas. So again, shout out to all the blinks. Hopefully y'all were able to recover after that news of, Jenny dating G-Dragon. Shout out to all the onces. Some of your girls have been producing fire content to start the year. So hopefully we get more Twice content as we continue along with 2021. Of course, we gotta give our mandatory shout out to the army, or for those who enlisted in the BTS army. Your boys are so big that Coldplay, their classic hit, is now back in the iTunes top 200 whatever, just because of a boy group from Korea. So that has to be a proud moment for all the BTS stans. Shout out to the choral, just like one of our guests here. Shout out to the N citizens. And let's go to the second gen. Shout out to the ELFs. And my honest opinion, boys listen to BTS, but grown men listen to Super Junior. So shout out to all the Suju peeps out here. Shout out to the Shea Walls, Shiny's back. Yep, Shiny's back indeed with a new single. So shout out to all the Shea Walls. But of course, RIP to the late Junghyun. Hopefully you're resting well up there. And RIP also to Sully. And shout out to all the fans of FX, those who stand Victoria, Luna, Crystal, and one of my favorite rappers, Amber. But yeah, RIP to Sully as well. Shout out to all these groups. So if I missed out on any, please do not roast me. Just, message me on the chat, in the comments. But I saved the best for last. We gotta give a special shout out to these two wonderful fan bases. So first of all, y'all know by now, shout out to all the Uaenas. IU's coming with a new album. We can't wait. I can't wait. And it's gonna be really exciting. So shout out to all the Uaenas as usual, tuning in. But last but not the least, as y'all can see by that cover that I just posted, I am a huge fan of Red Velvet. So shout out to all the ReVeluvs tuning in. So if you don't know what a ReVeluv is, these are basically people who stand Baejeon or Irene, aka the group leader of Red Velvet, Kang Sulgi, who's obviously the ultimate girl crush concept, Park Soyoung or Joy. I mean, her name just says it all, guys. She brings so much joy to us ReVeluvs. Kim Yerin or Yeri, another cute pretty face, basically the opposite of Sogi. And my ultimate bias, of course, IU pa rin, but she is a close second. My girl, Sun Sung Won, aka Wendy, guys. So yeah, shout out to all the ReVeluvs, all the Uaenas, and every other fan base tuning in tonight, today, or whenever you guys are listening to this episode. So I know it's a long intro, and I know you guys hate long intros, but I just needed to give every single fan base or fandom their props. So let's introduce our guests. Of course, you guys know Niki by now, so she made it, or she was part of season 1's cast. I had to bring her back because she's a good friend. She's a K-pop stan, but most importantly, she is a ReVeluv like me, and she also loves Wendy as much as I do. But we are welcoming another guest. So guys, let's give it up for Miss Kaydii Dupet. So she is 1/3 of the Spill the Soju podcast. So welcome aboard, ladies. What is up?
Hi. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. Glad to be back too. Apologies about earlier. I didn't realize we were starting to film, so I was taking some.
phone with you. You're holding it up pa.
Yeah, I was like,
You're fine. You're fine. I'm glad to be here. I'm Kaydii from Spill the Soju podcast. We are also a K-pop podcast.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, so first of all, before we start, did you guys enjoy that cover?
Oh yeah, I was dancing with you.
I tried to dance.
Yes.
I love Bad Boy. Bad Boy is my favorite out of all their singles. Like that's
Right?
saying something because I love Red Velvet, but Bad Boy is my favorite. Sorry, my dogs are like barking.
I'm sorry. I'm like, as much as I love Bad Boy, I'm like, I am really biased to the red side. So it's like red
Oh.
flavor is still a
Red.
classic
Oh yeah. Mhm.
song of the
Yes.
year.
For sure, for
Song
sure.
of the year. Psycho.
Psycho.
All right. Wow, guys, I'm literally shivering because I'm so nervous as usual. But it's a K-pop theme episode, so I have to give it my 100%, Like
You got this. Got
You
this.
got this.
if anything, guys, in all honesty, I know this is the Jake of all trades. I know I'm supposed to cater to any niche, but I'm seriously tempted to make a second channel just dedicated to Asian and K-pop related stuff.
Yeah.
We don't know though.
So
We'll
the
see.
Soju will be right behind you if ever. We'll support you. Let's go.
Yo, if
Out
anything,
there all the time.
yes, if anything, dapat mag-guest kami ni Nikki, one of these days to your show because we would love to just continue exposing ourselves as ReVeluv, as
Absolutely,
Uaenas. Like, we would love to pay a
Yeah.
visit.
That's the thing. Actually with Spill the Soju right now, we're inviting our friends pa lang. Kasi we don't really have like a big circle of like K-pop. But because of this parang ganito, like we meet you guys, we will like plan to invite you over ganon.
Yeah.
Para just making the network bigger. Char.
Diba?
Connecting the world.
Through K-pop.
Yes. Yep, K-pop's taking over, guys. Like, it's funny if you told me
Sure.
5 years ago that I'd be into K-pop, I would be straight up laughing on your faces, thinking that you guys are crazy and that's just a fad. It's gonna fade over time. But here we are, 36 episodes and four fan cam dance covers later.
Wow,
Yep.
that's awesome.
You got that.
So, I guess before we start, or now that we're about to start, let's begin by just spending a few minutes, I guess, simping over some of our biases. I've already done a lot of that. I've been doing that for every episode. But, kayo naman, since you guys are diehard K-pop stans,
Yeah.
this is your chance to expose to the to my Del bros and sisters and to all of your friends and fans which K-pop idols you guys love standing the most.
Come on. You go first.
Oh, so like, okay, I'm like really a multi-fandom, and well, originally I just started out liking EXO, so my bias from EXO was Xiumin,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
and then like along the way I started liking BTS because this guy I've met now introduced me to BTS, and then he was like, "Oh, you should watch them." And then my bias there is Jin, and then along the way it just kept expanding. But like my first like girl group that I really like heavily stand to this day is Red Velvet. Like
Yeah.
I've watched them from Natural onwards, so it's like
Oh,
just
wow.
like you stand the vocal queen herself, like oh. And then recently, well, because like over time when I got so busy in college, I kind of just like casually just like listened to like some groups na lang, or like didn't follow as deeply. But like before college started, like one of my alt groups is really 17, so I like Junghan there. And then recently I've gotten into the boys.
The boys.
And like my bias there so far is Kevin, because my friend said you will go through phases of having this bias in the boys. I don't know. It's like the thing with me is I really like, maybe after like a rotation of like 2 members, I like was for SS. It's like set for life that this is gonna be my bias. So most probably it's still gonna be Kevin.
Yeah.
So yeah, so far.
Me, well, I've been a K-pop fan for so long already, like since my char. But yeah, I started with the SHINee in 2009. So I've been a K-pop fan for a long time. And along the way, I also became a fan of EXO, GOT7, basta lahat na, basta multi-stan, gano'n. But now I'm more focused on 17 and SHINee, also because SHINee's back, like after the military break. Come on.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's intense because we waited for so long, and now they're back, and like I'm just overwhelmed, so overwhelmed right now. But yeah, SHINee, my bias is Key, and then 17, my bias is Wonu. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I do stan a lot of groups as well, pero mainly SHINee and 17. But since I am a second gen stan, like I don't know, it's like a connotation for second gen stans na multi stans talaga. Kasi parang lahat nung time na yun, Suju man yan, to anyone man yan, Big Bang man yan, fan ka. Like, yun. Lahat ng mga random dances, alam mo. So, yeah. So, yeah.
What you mentioned Wonu, and like, cause like recently I bought You Make My Day. So like one of my pulls is a Wonu.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
Actually, I pulled Wonu and make you out. So it was just like, oh, that is a lot of people got so good pulls because it's such a lucky pull, pala.
It is a lucky pull. They're expensive members. So they're
I was hoping for Jonghan, but getting them is like a whoa.
My first bias was Jonghan. My first 17 bias. Yeah, when he still had long hair.
Actually, he was the reason I got into 17. Because like at that time, I think this fan artist I used to follow, like she drew EXO and SHINee. Like she was mostly an SM Town fan artist.
Okay.
She noticed 17, and then she was doing like a sketch study. And like she said, these are the 3 members that caught my eye. It was Uzi, Vernon, and Jonghan. And I was like, oh, let me check that out. But I don't think during Adore You, like I've heard of 17 as Pledis Entertainment. Oh yeah, like a lot of their groups are good, but then their management makes them flop. And then 17 was like supposed to debut around the time when BTS debuted. Like 2012, 2013. So it was like, oh, like, I think I remember the people had an inside joke that 17 was like stuck in pre-debut limbo forever. So like seeing them debut was like, oh, let me give a listen to Adore You. But then I became a fan during Mansei, so there's that.
I feel you because I've been seeing 17 like pre-debut, but I never got into them because like pre-debut era, I wasn't that big of a fan because I knew that not all of them was going to debut. Like I just knew na hindi sila lahat papasok sa industry, and I was scared because pag ako attach talaga. Kaya Adore You, nung seryoso na okay, 13 members, okay, ready na ako. Yan na.
With that, because like I became a K-pop stan 2014. Like the story is really bad because my friends were trying to get me into EXO because they were EXO-Ls. And the worst part is the first time they made me listen to EXO, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm vibing with the song. It was Overdose. Chris announces that he's leaving the group.
Oh and my gosh!
Second time, I tried re-listening, and other songs.
Yeah.
Luhan left.
Oh my god!
The week Luhan left. That's when I started listening, and then like later in the week he leaves, and then I'm like, okay, I commit during Call Me Baby.
And then
Tao leaves. I give EXO the hardest time that you should be liking EXO because it was the actual exodus of Chinese members.
No, but
yeah.
for EXO though, I was a fan since history. Since debut ng EXO, I was a fan. And then after Chris left, that was when I kind of drifted away from them kasi parang ako, ay shakit.
That's the hardest part. Like when the members leave, you're just like
yeah, that was it was crazy. I was so as in sobrang EXO-L ako noon. So parang sobrang ang lala nung ano sa akin, ang effect sa akin, yung trust issues ko. Yeah.
But like with 17, like I'm glad that it was the final 13. That's okay.
Yeah.
These guys are the ones debuting, and 5 years, magsa 6 years strong na.
Yeah.
It makes me feel old when I watched 17 because I was like a senior in high school when they debuted, and now I graduated college. It's like, oh god.
Diba? So cool.
Like since they're our age, it makes it kind of like you don't feel like you've grown up with them.
Parang tropa lang.
And like I know a lot of Carats are 17's fandom name. Yeah. And then like a lot of Carats are like, oh, I thought Mansei was like 2 years ago. Like they can't believe that it's been years since Mansei. It's been like what?
I can't believe it.
Like it's been I don't know. It's like so weird because like you've grown up with them as a group, and like seeing them now as 17. Wow. I don't know. It's like I think that's a thing. Like I don't want to sound mean, but like it's a thing now. If you started standing the group ever since, the attachment is so crazy. Like
that's I agree. Okay lang.
Wow.
With BTS, man, it's like we're looking with the three like so currently biggest groups of Korea right now. So like with BTS, it was 2014. I was actually supposed to go to the Red Bullet, but the guy who got me into BTS offered me a ticket on the day of the concert. And you're like, what, 16? Your parents aren't gonna be like, go take the random ticket from a guy that you befriended and then go to BTS all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard to do. So I regret it, but I know my...
I watched the Red Bullet. That was when like BTS was just starting out, diba? So parang they weren't that big, like as big as now, diba? So parang for me, I was able to watch Red Bullet kahit parang lower box lang or something. I'm like, there.
You were there. I was so mad at myself thinking that I could have actually completed all 3 concerts of BTS in Manila if I wasn't a 16-year-old girl who was offered a ticket on the day of the concert.
Yeah, for real. Like, sayang.
But I went to Epilogue and I went to Wings. Like, actually, fun fact. Oh, sorry. I didn't catch it, but
oh my gosh, oh my god.
Like, it's a long story, but I befriended someone who caught 2 balls. And she gave me the ball with Jimin toss. But that was because it was the ball he didn't sign.
That's nice.
Wow.
That's nice.
And then like she took RM's ball because it was the signed one. But at the same time, like, wow, that's so lucky, like clenching it.
Yeah. You know, speaking of catching stuff sa concert, I don't know if you... No, I didn't. I caught a candy. I caught a candy that was thrown by Suho Junmyeon. In
Solution?
DKFC.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the very first one, the one they went here. So OT13, OT12 pa yun. Buong-buo pa yung exam!
God.
And then I caught the candy and I haven't eaten it since then.
Girl, that's like rotting candy.
I don't know. It's the yung parang basta it's a Filipino brand.
Is it White Rabbit?
Hindi, hard candy siya. Pero tinatago ko talaga para naka-preserve siya. That nandito lang siya. Para ako, I caught this. I didn't pick it up from the floor. I caught it from his hand.
I actually have like a really dumb story with like EXO. Like it's such a clockable story. So when I was like 18, I went to EXO and you know they're strict about cameras, but I had this like Samsung camera that kind of looked like a phone.
Oh.
So I was filming and I didn't get caught, and I was in VIP.
Whoa.
So it was cool. And then I did the same in Epilogue, and like no one caught me. And then I did the same during one sex fan meet, and no one caught me. So when I went to Almario, I was so confident, like, you know, no one's gonna catch me. It's like not even great pictures. So film. Oh my gosh, the security catches me. Like Exordium security was the strictest as far as I know.
Were you in VIP?
Yeah, VIP.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
They got my camera, and I was like chill with it because I know I'll get my camera back at the end of the concert to be the confiscated goods. So I'm like, okay, sure, chill. And then what's this? Like after the concert, so I was like filming the whole thing with my phone. I'm looking for my camera. Like I go to the confiscated goods, I was asking for it, and then like they didn't have it, and I was like so scared because it wasn't even my camera. It was my mom's camera.
Oh no!
And I was like crying. I'm like, what the heck? Everyone's left and I'm just like there, like about to, tearing up. Like, guys, please, my dad's waiting outside, and the security was like being so mean, pa. And you know, I'm like 18, so I was like, you're like still kind of like young, and you're still like medyo like maiiyak ka like at weird times, ganyan.
Yeah.
And then it was stressful because there was like all the security, they couldn't find it, and like the worst part was Araneta's security was the one helping me, insisting, you guys go look for it. We have to go backstage to help get this kid her camera because the it's backstage with the concert people. But the security, not the security, it was like the hired outsourced security of Pulp at that time was like, no, we'll just like get her address. We'll just give it to her. But then the thing is, Araneta's security was like, we're accountable for anything she loses. So they were the ones who like pushed and forced that I can go backstage.
Oh, okay.
My dad was in the military, so he gave me like he gave me a dependence card, and he also gave me his AFP card just in case there's any trouble. So yeah, there was trouble, and the security was like, like making jokes na, stalker ka ba, like that, like well they're bringing me back, and I was like, I was so pissed off. Like I flashed my dad's AFP card at them, like. That's my dad. I don't want to be like that, but at the same time, it's like that was the security.
Pero syempre, like you were under pressure na parang you just want to go home with your camera.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was the security. It was the outsourced security was being so rude to me, but like they were like not wanting to find my camera. They were content with just letting me leave and like find it some other time, all that. And so I was in the backstage. And I saw like the toys that EXO collected, and like the security said EXO was still in the backstage pa. Like I never saw them, but the thing was, when we were arguing, like, I was trying to be like low key about it, like not raise my voice, because I'm like, if my only interaction with EXO is me raising my voice to security, that's gonna be so disgusting. But then like security was being so mean, and my dad was looking for me, and I was about to cry na. And like just going. Like the head of security was so was trying to call me a liar, a stalker, all that stuff.
Hey, that's so.
It was the second head pa who was trying to medyo defend me ng konti. Pero the rest of the guards, the rest of the outsourced security was so mean, and the Araneta guards were just so pissed off at it. So they in the end they were like, let your dad in. So they let my dad in. Like during that time, hagol-gol na ako kasi it's in like a car. It was still in the back. So it's my only interaction with EXO was them hearing me hagol-gol crying in the back. Like they left a bit after, so I never really got to see them, but they heard me hagol-gol cry.
That's Pero grabe naman. Grabe. But in the end, you got the camera.
In the end, I got the camera back. Like, we went to the pulp people. We went to the pulp people. And, they gave it back, but they also asked me to write an apology letter, which gets ko naman. And a letter explaining to Happy C what happened. And yung pala, weird love story. Like, turns out Happy C is a friend of my titas. And ngayon, Happy C is also a friend of my dad now.
Whoa.
Oh.
So it's like,
Oh my gosh, connections!
Next time. But then, it was really it was like a really bad story din. Kasi after, when my dad, when I was getting my camera, the head of security went to my dad. It was like, special child ba yung anak mo? And I'm just like, when my dad was so offended for me. Parang, you've been pressuring my child. You did not do anything to get her camera back to the point na she was crying. And then you have the audacity to call her a special child.
Grabe.
He was fuming, like.
Of course. If I was your dad, I would be too.
That's a knockout
So
right there.
When I made the report to Happy C, like, I included, like, and to talk to my tita about it, I included the story about how the outsourced security were so rude, and how Clarinet guards were the more helpful one. And apparently, it did work. I'm not gonna, like, name drop the outsourced security for but, like, when Wings tour happened in 2017, like, a few months later, what's this? I was also VIP, so, like, nakita ko din, like, some of the staff in Pulp who recognized me, like, hey, it's you, the kid whose camera went missing and went to us.
You know, you wouldn't have gone through that if they just placed it somewhere. Yeah, if they just put it where it was supposed to go. Grabe.
So during Wings, I was like looking around. The security was a different outsourced security. Like Happy C worked to get a different outsourced security.
That's good.
Yeah, but that was the story like of my only interaction with EXO was me hagulgol crying.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
That's so sad.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that as well. Wow.
But at least they didn't see you. Diba?
At least they didn't see me. I'm pretty sure they were just surprised. Like, why is there a crying person outside?
For real though. Yeah.
Wow, those are some crazy stories right there.
Yeah. Grabe. Ako wala akong masyadong wala akong parang moments sa concert na meron ba? Wala naman. Pero kasi when I go to a concert, I'm like, I make sure not to bring a camera kasi I'm scared na ma-confiscate tas di ko nga makuha. Ganyan. But I bring my phone, tapos when, di ba, bawal mag-video, ganyan. Pero pag 17 talaga, kailangan ma-video ko So, I have my banner, yung kunyari one of those banners, di ba? I have a banner, and then I would hide it sa likod, and then still film. Like, pretend I'm filming, but like, I'm looking like that. Yeah. Pero the last concert ng 17 yung Ode to You dito sa Manila, they allowed phones. Like, they allowed video recording for some reason, which I now realize that the reason was because it was the last stop for the Ode to You tour, because after the Philippines stop, they announced that they were gonna cancel the entire tour because of the pandemic.
Right.
Tayo yung last. Yeah. So they still had Europe, they still had Kuala Lumpur after the Philippines, kaya they had a Europe stop pa. Ayun, they canceled everything after the Philippines. Yeah. So that was probably the reason they allowed everyone to just like, okay, wala na kayong pake sa inyo, just take videos all you want, take pictures. Because you guys won't see them for like another, 2 years? I don't know.
To be fair, I've tried to watch 17 at least 3 times, and I regret not watching, because like the first time it was 3 angles pro, not there, and it was you like 17 nila dito, and I don't know, it was when 3 angles pro wasn't that good at producing, so it was like really horrible ticket buying.
Oh yeah,
and then
Shining Diamond,
and then what was the next one after Diamond's Edge? Director's Cut?
Ideal Cut.
Ideal cut there.
That's
And then
pop.
during ideal cut, I had a test that day. Like it was an accounting long
Oh.
test on the Friday
Whoa.
of the concert, and I was like,
Uh,
why? And then I kind of fell out of 17 by the time OTU came. But I was like in the back of
Yeah.
my mind, should I make this my birthday gift to myself? But at the same
Yeah.
time, I wanted to hang out with my friends.
Mm.
So I opted to just hang out with them. Now I feel bad because I was like, no, 17 is gonna return to the Philippines.
Yeah. Not anytime soon though.
No,
But
nope.
But yeah, speaking of concerts, kasi parang ako, I wanna go to, like, of course, pag nagpunta sila dito, since main group ko nga sila, I'm like, kailangan makapunta ako sa concert. But 2019, I wasn't in the Philippines. I was actually in the US. I was working for a year. And I'm like, shit, di ko sila,
It's okay. It's okay.
shucks, di ko sila makikita, ganyan.
Mhm.
But then, they went to KCON New York. They went to KCON New York, and I was based in Florida. I was based in Florida. I'm like, they're gonna go to New York, and then my friend, it was such a coincidence. It was such a good coincidence because my friend was celebrating her birthday July 6th, and then they were going to go to New York July 7 or 8, basta ganon.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Girl, pareho kaming Florida naka-base." Sabi niya, "Girl, parang gusto ko mag-New York sa birthday ko." So we went to New York. For her birthday,
Mhm.
but I stayed for a day longer than kasi tatlo kami nun. I stayed for a day longer in New York. I booked my own Airbnb overnight just so I can attend KCON New York and watch 17. So that was the first time. That was the first time I ever went to a concert on my own. And
Gosh.
Philippines pa. So,
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Tapos, syempre, diba, mga Amerikano, ganyan. And, I don't know, like, something with foreigners or Americans, that they're just, like, friendly with strangers. So, parang I made friends sa queue, sa line. Hey, what's your bag? And then, okay, let's go together. Okay, sure. Yeah, it was such an awesome experience. Kahit parang 6 songs lang yung pinerform nila. Pero parang ang surreal kasi parang, oh shucks, it's in a different country. I'm like seeing them. Wala lang, it was awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
There's another, but this is Monster X. Like, actually, it was their fan meet in Manila. Yung yung dome sa North EDSA. It's like, I have.
Okay, continue. Oh my gosh. Wait.
Okay.
Go, continue ka muna.
The thing is, I bought VIP tickets last minute. So I was like, okay, so I can get part of either the photo op at the end or a high touch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the way to Monster X, it was traffic, and then I realized, oh crap, that's 30 minutes before or 30 minutes before the actual fan meet, and we're still pretty far. So my dad and I, we actually went down the car and ran all the way to to North EDSA.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the day when my Doc Martens actually gave out on me. Like, I'm not wearing like the thick ones. I'm wearing these thick, thinner ones.
Yeah.
And like the back of it, like the hard back, cracked already because of how much I ran that day. And when I got to the arena, to the Sky Dome, I was like, I have a ticket. Like, I could hear Trespass being played already. And then like all the Mondelez who were there, they were like, hi, let Ate go through. Represent all of us, Ate. And I'm just like, oh, thank you. Like, that was I had so many like memories of like K-pop concerts where like the fandoms are so nice.
Yeah.
It was the cutest for me. It was like, so yeah, I go in and then like, I watched the whole thing. It was pretty chill.
Yeah.
And then we had to like, like randomly pick, are we gonna get high touch or we're gonna get photo op? And so I got high touch. So me and the few people who were high touch, like one of them was actually in the game and had a picture with IM. Like, he took a selfie like discreetly, and IM was there. I was like, ooh. But like, yeah, we were on our way for the high touch, and we are like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna film this? And like, we were all like trying to find angles of how to put our phone. And I had a bad video, but like the guy behind me had a good video, and he sent it to me, so it was like good.
Oh,
but like during
that's nice.
the high touch, I was like, OMG, Kihan! Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And he helps my bias from one side.
Yeah,
when I see him, I was like, Maniac! I'm like, Maniac! And then like, it's funny because I was like bouncy, and he was bouncy, and he was also like this and doing the high touch, like, that was cute. And after that, I couldn't pronounce anyone else's name. Like, I was like,
oh my god.
Wow.
I could just say one has the softest hands. They're like,
oh my gosh,
soft. It's crazy. Like, Wonho, even though he's not a member, still has the softest hands. It feels like if there's his baby butt smooth, his is like smoother than that. And that's crazy. So,
oh my gosh, I have a story about Monsta X, like a follow. Oh my gosh, kasi you were talking about the fan meet, diba? The fan meet. And then you talked about your friend, the guy na may picture with with Changkyun.
Yeah.
I have one too.
What's this? Oh my gosh, were you the photo op people?
No. Okay, so this is a really, it's such a coincidence. Sobrang lucky moment, like legit. Kasi this is like the only picture I have with an idol. Like, anyway, wait. Nag-fangirl na. Anyway, ayun na nga. It was their fan meet, and then we have the same flight we were on the same flight as Monsta X going to Korea. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not a stalker fan. Listen.
Yeah, di ka sasing.
Kasi di ako sasing. It's purely coincidence. Me and our batch sa, because I'm from UST, and my major's tourism. So we have this international tour during our third year of college. We have an international tour. Yung parang field trip namin, going to a different country.
Yeah.
So we were going to Korea for that international tour. Tas 3 blocks kami. Nasa Naiya 1. Tapos we were riding Asiana Airlines. Tas our profs were like, parang narinig namin meron tayong kasabay na K-pop group. Tas kami, sure ba kayo dyan? Ano? Hindi pwede. Tapos parang syempre, yung mga K-pop fans, okay, sino ba yung mga K-pop na magko-concert dito or something, ganyan. Aba, ayun nga, Monsta X, may fan meet. Kasi they didn't say who the group was. Kasi our profs were just like, we know that there is a K-pop with us sa plane, but we don't know who they are. And we're like, oh my gosh, Monsta X ata. Tapos parang kami, what? But like, it was purely coincidence because we were waiting sa boarding gate. Sa Naiya tong picture na to. So this was right after the fan meet. Kasi diba what idols usually do is right after the concert or their fan meet, they would go na agad, diba? They would leave. So this was a red-eye flight. So mga nasa 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. na to ng umaga. Tapos we were waiting sa boarding area. Syempre yung idols, they wouldn't wait naman sa boarding area where all the other people are waiting. Nasa VIP sila. So parang I knew, even though Monsta X was gonna be on the same plane as us, I wouldn't see them. Parang yung chances na makita ko sila, maliit. So parang me and my friend, yung Becky ko namang friend, we went up sa may mga VIP lounge kasi palabas doon yung Starbucks. We wanted to get coffee. Tapos parang pabalik na kami doon sa boarding gate. Aba, may mga lumabas sa may VIP lounge. Lumabas. Parang kami, bakit may mga kulay yung buhok? Hala! Tapos yun, tapos parang I think it was Changkyun who went out, and then sino yung blue hair nun?
Wonho.
Wonho.
Yun si Pink. Wonho's blue.
Pink hair. Yan. Si Wonho, si Changkyun, tsaka si Kihyun. Ang lumabas na 3, parang sila yung unang 3. Tapos, froze. Sabi ko, Gago, Bezi. Kasi Bezi, bading eh. Bezi, Monster X yan, Monster X. Tapos parang sabi niya, gago, Bezi, magpapicture tayo. Sabi ko, hindi ko kaya. Nahiya ako. I was literally shaking kasi, shucks, that's Monster X. But I was like, I was frozen. Tapos syempre bading. He was like, kailangan mag-picture tayo, Bezi. Halika dito, ganyan. Tapos the managers were with them, of course. Tapos parang wala kasing tao dun sa corridor. Kasi yung mga blockmates namin, they were all at nasa boarding gate. We were just upstairs kasi we got coffee nga. So parang sabi ko, shucks, di ako makagalaw. And then my friend was like, he approached the managers and he was like, can we? And then he approached Champion. Like he went straight to Champion and he was like, yeah, can I take a picture with you? Tapos parang, oh my God, legit, ginagawa niya talaga. Tapos parang, Champion, the Monster X members that were outside, they looked at their manager, okay lang ba? Can they take a picture with us? Tapos, ayun, parang sige, wala pa namang tao, go take a picture. Tapos yun, so I had a picture with Champion. Si Champion lang, kasi I was like literally shaking na talaga. But my friend got a picture with Kihyun, with Wonho, and Champion. I think also, not Hyungwon eh. Juhon. I got a picture with Juhon as well. Kasi lumabas din sila after noon. Like, 2 more members came out. Tapos parang I was okay na with one picture. Okay, this is real. This is really happening right now. Tapos yun. Tapos they were in business class, you were in economy. But yeah, it was just like a surreal moment. Kaya when you said fan meet nung nasa Skydome, para ako, oh my God, I have to say this story also.
Girl, ang swerte mo. Oh my God.
Sobra. Yun lang talaga yung pinakaswerte kong moment sa buhay ko. Para ako, wow. This is really happening. Then, wait lang, last na. Sorry, ang daming right after that, yung mga, di ba, okay, umalis na yung Monster X, parang pumasok na ulit sila. Di kami, nasa labas lang kami. And then, our professors came out of the VIP lounge. Aba, sabi namin, Sir, kasama niyo yung Monster X the whole time. Hindi nila kilala. Talaga ba? Kaya pala may mga ang daming mga Koreano, ganyan. Kala namin lang. Tapos kami, grabe, nagkakape kayo with Monster X. Wala lang.
Oh
Ang cool lang. Tinatawanan nila kami kasi para kami umiiyak sa labas. VIP lounge. Yeah.
I don't have a story like that yung next one. Pero like, it turns out I have a kind of mutual friend with Amber.
Oh my gosh!
Kasi my kuya lives, I have cousins who live in LA. So this one cousin of mine, he's like a 30-year-old guy, super rich, he has like, he's married, he's a weeboo who has a wife.
Okay.
He has like race cars and all that, and he's like friends with all the like voice actors on like Japanese and
nice.
culture enthusiasts there.
Okay.
So he brought me to the game launch for a Yakuza game because he was voice actor of the main character. And during that, he introduces me to his friends, and like one of them's like, "Oh, you're into K-pop, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm into K-pop. I love K-pop." I'm telling him the groups I stand. I'm like, I like FX, and he was like, "Oh, FX. Oh, so like you know Amber, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we go to church together."
What?
Church together. He was like, I see her. She used to be like giving the baskets in church for like the donations. She still goes to the same church. Remember, she's not. She's not back in the. Because like I think at that time she was having her tour for her for her solo concerts. So she was in Los Angeles at that time. He was like, "Oh, whenever you come back to LA and like, it's a Sunday. You guys can come to my church, and hopefully, if Amber's not touring, she's gonna go to church, and you could say hi to Amber." And I'm just like,
oh my God.
And then say hi to Amber in church.
Grabe!
Wow.
Is that signed? The album, is it signed? Is it signed by Amber?
Oh no, it's not signed by Amber because like I'm actually planning. Well, she's in China right now, but I'm actually planning that the next when everything's like COVID free, or at least everyone's vaccinated. Like we're gonna go back because we always go to LA every year. So she's just in LA.
Yeah.
if I want to go to church with my cousin's friend, I'll ask Amber, "You want to sign my beautiful album?"
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh
do
my
it.
God.
Just like she
Nice.
just like say hi to her. Like I love Amber so much. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
That's cute. That's cute. I love her too. Like, sobrang ano niya lang, parang wala siyang pake.
Mm.
Yeah.
To be fair, like I feel, cause like I like second gen groups din talaga. Like where FX is talagang yung
Yeah.
alt one was my alt group before, like
ReVeluv.
I remembered. I saw like I came in late, like red light ako na. So it was like Sully in
Yeah.
hiatus, then leaving, and then Four Walls.
Yeah.
And then like I was like so hyped up, and I was like thinking, what's next from FX? And then what's next from FX? No, nothing. So I got so sad. So like and I was younger. I didn't see the point of really collecting albums yet because I had such limited money.
Oh yeah.
And like usually the money I got, like I'll save it up, and like it was like I was lucky lang that I was able to save up money to buy like two versions of Exodus. So I was like, I can buy FX's albums in the future. Like they're gonna have more.
Yeah.
They never had more. And almost all their albums are out of print. So that's the thing. Like I've been like now that I have a job, I'm using parts of my income to actually just collect all the FX albums that's out because I know it's never gonna come back. And I guess
you can look for if it's okay with you. You can look for pre-loved albums from.
Actually, all three of my FX albums are pre-loved. So all plus the Four Walls when I just ordered, it's all pre-loved. So I'm really just happy that I can at least still collect FX things and not feel as sad.
Course. Ako sa Shiny ganyan. Kasi I started standing Shiny high school eh. So literally I had no money. My allowance was like 100 pesos a day. So I would starve myself to buy a 350 pesos worth album na PH print pa ha, Philippine print.
Oh my God.
Not even Korean print. So for me, like ngayon na my job na parang shocks. I'm so I want to tell my 13-year-old self, you can do it. Be proud.
I actually have a friend, like he is also a shawal, so like when right now he still like casually stands K-pop, but since he is in a seminary and he's gonna be a priest, he's just like he doesn't really get to listen as much. But like he told me back then, this is because like me and Jake are actually from the same org. We served together. Yeah. So I was in the org room with him and another friend, and then he was like, "No, Shiny. The first album was Lucifer, diba? No, Bing Ding Dong was the first album.
Shiny? No,
Lucifer was second. No, Shiny was
second. Their first album is yung Shiny World.
Oh yeah, Shiny World, and then second was. Second is Lucifer. He was like, I even bought the Lucifer album when it came out, and then like the one who doesn't like K-pop was like Lucifer, and we're like in a church org room, so it's like it's a K-pop album name. It's from Shiny, and like I have the Korean press, I have the poster, I have all that, and I'm just like
Okay. My gosh, ang funny kasi nasa church pala kayo, tas Lucifer.
No, hindi pa nasa church. We were in the org room, but like there was like, there's like a cross in our org room. And we have like piano sheet music and Bible, so it's like hearing the word Lucifer out of context is like.
Yeah, God's cringing. I'm sure he's cringing up there.
Wait, Jake has never experienced the Philippine press editions of K-pop albums.
Yeah.
I'm missing out on
Album.
all your stories, guys. Like,
Sorry.
I'm just casually listening, and like I've never been to a K-pop concert. I haven't bought an album.
Don't worry, it's fine. It's fine kahit bago ka lang.
And I totally regret.
It's
I totally regret not being into this stuff early because can you imagine? I could have been to IU's concert. I could have been to Red Velvet's concert.
It's okay. It all, time will come. You will be able to go to a concert then.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the goal.
fine also. What's nice about this generation though? Wow, generation, kala mo naman makatanda na. like what's nice about this generation of K-pop though is that it's very accessible nowadays.
For sure.
Unlike when I first started out, I'm like, where do I get albums? How do I Stan Twitter wasn't even a thing back then. So
That's
parang ako
true.
sa Tumblr ako nag-ano. Then, yeah, sa Tumblr.
I remember.
Yeah. Nag-aabang ng comeback. My first comeback was Lucifer and then FX. Like, I'll never forget Nuebo, yung Nuebo ng FX. Like, every 12 midnight, I would wait for it and I felt like a rebel kasi nga sobrang, I mean, like, parents are like, hey, sleep ka na. Ano ba, anong oras na, ganyan. But like, I wait for the teaser to come out. Tapos, wala lang. It was so inaccessible, sorry, ng K-pop dati. So, ngayon, Jake, liit na bagay.
It's a good time because I came in the tail end. Like 2014 is like really, maybe 2014, 2015 was really the last years. Was like the last years K-pop was pretty like niche and inaccessible pa.
Yeah.
So like it was, you had to go if you wanted to.
Tuloy na eh.
Yeah.
Like Philippine pressing of albums were, I mean they're okay, but like like we were sold in Astrovision, I think.
Yes,
but like,
and Odyssey.
Oh yeah, but like the problems with like Philippine pressings, because I only have like 2, it's Growl and Red Light.
Yeah,
and like my Red Light's okay, but like the Growl one, it's a mess.
Oh.
And like
you
there's
know,
a lot of
yung mga shiny albums ko, most of them are Philip or PH Press.
And sometimes PH presses are okay, but there's like a lot of times it is a big mess.
Yeah. Na-realize ko, kasi back then when I was buying shiny albums, I didn't even know what PH Press meant, like KR Press, and what the difference was. And then I was just so happy to have an album. And then now I realize like people are looking for it. And then sabihin nila, is it PH Press, KR Press? I'm like, probably PH Press because I bought it from Odyssey. I bought it during the album launching, if you were there. But yeah, album launchings were a thing before also. Ngayon hindi na. Hindi na siya.
And like back then, because like before, I mean 2014, I'm actually pretty lucky that a lot of things had were not like automatically sub, but there were people who've already made fan subs for it. And like I came in like 2014, so EXO, what's that EXO's show? The one Showtime there. EXO Showtime had full subs. I wasn't like one of those EXO-Ls who had to wait like for a while just to get subs. And like when EXO Next Door came out, that was like waiting for maybe a few days to a week to actually understand what's happening with this really weird K-drama of EXO.
Yeah.
And like Twitter, no one really no K-pop group had Twitter. No
it wasn't mga that time pa lang nagkaroon ng mga stan tweet. I didn't have a stan Twitter until basta EXO. Ganon.
And like it was hard because like not a lot of people like K-pop, so you were like kind of like low key. I like K-pop. And then you know, like there was no V Live until like 2015, 2016 So like try just like if you want, you're just lucky if your idol had a personal IG or a personal Twitter, because that's your only chance to really like a Twitter.
Everything's gonna be everything was on YouTube lang, tapos lahat it didn't have 720p, it was all 360p 480p as in like ngayon 4K na studio tune.
Oh my god.
So Jake, sobrang
you're in a good you're like you don't have to we don't have to walk the rough path, but like like it's lucky because like a lot of idols do like Instagram lives and you can just like say anything to them. Like
that's true.
I've seen the shiny ones and it's like
oh
it's so
my
chaotic. God. Especially when Taemin starts speaking in English.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like
And then Kibam came back, and like he's very fluent in English, right? And he's just like so exasperated. He's like, "Tama na, tigil na yan."
And like Damon's like, what's this? What's this? What's this?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, Korean bird."
He's just like not like glaring, but he's just like, oh
Yeah.
God, why?
He's so done. Like he's 100% done.
Oh,
Yeah.
like, ever since V Live, like you get the funniest moment. V Live and IG Live, you get the funniest stuff. Like, I'm like, I'm crying in the club. You're in the club?
You're in the club, I know. It's so funny.
At least it's good to know that well, for one, I'm not missing out, and at least tama yung panahon. But I guess the part that I still kind of regret is maybe not being in it a little bit earlier, because yun nga, I think the concerts and stuff, sobrang na-miss out ko na yun because, of the whole situation over here. So maybe had I been into it a couple of years earlier, who knows? I would have had a crazy concert story to share.
Once pa lang siya, no? Once pa. Is it?
Yeah.
Is that right? Once pa lang ba si Ai?
Yeah, once pa lang siya dito. Like her concert or fan meet here, like a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think,
And another thing is like nowadays, like a lot of idols are doing online concerts. Like they're live streaming their concerts. So it's not like, so for me, it's like it's worth it in a way. Like it's much cheaper than buying.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like there's like no limit to the tickets. There's no waiting in line stories and crying once it's sold out.
Yeah.
There's like no having to be in the concert area like 2 hours before just so that you can get in. Like at the very least, I know this is the difference. Like you're watching from the comfort of your own. Like you're not gonna be able to like experience like maybe like them looking at you or like you being that close. But if you want the experience of how the concert really is, how the performances are, it's such a good gateway to watch.
Yeah. Basta yung Wi-Fi mo, okay. Yeah. Pero totoo.
I remember like 2015-ish, 2014, like when people would like it's the first concert for any K-pop group. It's like the live updates were so they weren't fast at all. They were like really slow.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
And like there would be people on the outside who were just like trying to live tweet na they're yelling.
Yeah, totoo. Grabe.
So like, but then nowadays it's like there's people who are actually like giving the biggest live updates on Twitter. Like this happened in the concert like just now. Oh my gosh.
I don't know how they do that, especially the Koreans. Like I get that when you're in Korea, the internet's very fast, but like some of them, I don't know if they watch the concert kasi sobrang bilis nila mag-update on Twitter. Like they take a video of it or something and then they post it like a minute after. How do you do that?
Oh, I have another thing to say because what I know is that Pulp has cell jammers.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, So basically, like for a lot of K-pop concerts, especially in MOA and Araneta, they I tried using like my LTE just to like search something before the concert started, and nothing was coming up because the signal was like so bad. Even though like if I walk 2 feet away or like just a little bit outside the arena, its signal's perfect. So I think Pulp really just uses that for security reasons, and I think it's also the agreement.
Now that you mention it, I thought na every time may concert, I thought that when you go dun sa loob, akala ko talaga like wala lang signal sa loob. Kasi wala talagang signal kahit whatever concert I go to, laging walang signal sa loob. Pero once you go outside, there's already signal. And because my younger sister is also a Carat. So so she's like, we're 9 years apart.
Oh.
We're 9 years apart. Yeah. And I got her to like 17 too, but she would we would go to the concert together. But of course, yung pera niya, yung allowance niya, iba naman sa ano ko. So I would be like in VIP, she would be in lower box or something with her friends. Tapos parang ako, kapatid, walang ano ha, walang signal pagdating natin doon ha. Magmi-meet tayo sa snacks area after ng concert. Wag kang, pag ikaw nawala, lagot ako. So like, okay, ate, I got you, like that. Because there's no signal inside. So now that you mention it,
that's my insider story. Pulp does have self-jammers. And another
which for
thing,
me is fine naman. Wala namang kaso yun. Yeah.
because like, I actually lost my phone during epilogue.
Oh no.
Like in the because here's the thing I could tell about the BTS concerts, like out of all of the VIP standing I've been to, BTS was the most chaotic.
Oh.
Like I love the experience, except for the fact that everyone was pushing to the point like RM Namjoon had to go like, we're here for your safety, please stop pushing. Like,
oh my god.
at least like once or twice in the concert, because he just saw people. He just like, I'm 5'7" in a crowd of girls who are like 5'4".
Yeah.
And like I couldn't touch the ground for like 2 songs, and that's how hard they pushed. That's how hard the pushing was in VIP standing during epilogue.
See, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. And like, the reason I befriended the girl who gave this to me, she's like what, 5 flat from the province, 13 years old, and like she was gonna get crushed in the crowd. I was really like, even though I'm 5'7", like I was like putting up a fight to make sure she didn't get squished by the crowd. I was really trying to make sure that this kid's not gonna suffocate because some older armies are really pushing to be in the front of the crowd. So like when she caught, she had to give it to me. It's like, thanks ate for taking care of me.
That's nice.
But yeah,
That's nice.
During the concert, like tail end, my phone like slips out of my pocket or something, and even though you try to call, like, you know, there's no signal, so it's hard to call. Like we had to really bet na once you go outside, someone's gonna pick up or answer, or they're just gonna steal my phone. And buti na lang, it was like a nice, buti na lang, it's one of the nice older people then, nice older armies who are like, you know, like, they picked my phone up, they answer, and I'm like, oh, can you meet me here? Like, because I had a friend who was there. That's good. Like, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, armies are chaotic, but they're also very nice. But like, the younger ones are the reason I don't really like heavily like follow BTS that much anymore. But
I mean,
you know,
it's, I mean, it is generalized na rin kasi, you know, nowadays, because there's just it's a literal army.
It's hard because like I like BTS since 2014, so you know, you watch, you're so happy that they've reached this height, but at the same time, it's hard to like them because it's like, you know, like the fans are really like, it's just
so
hard
true.
because it's so chaotic. Like it's not the peaceful, it's not the peaceful stan culture of 2014 to 2015.
For real, you know, I agree with you because I also, because yun nga, like those days, diba 2013? I think they debuted in 2013. I also followed them since their debut, and I was about to like talagang commit to being a BTS fan, but then I don't know, just, do you know what they say about like fans affecting your decision into like standing a group? Like for me it becomes a factor kasi I really like BTS. I love J-Hope and Yoongi, so I'm like it's so sad, but I still support them like sa sidelines ganyan, but not as much, you know.
It's hard because, you know, they were really my ult back then. Because like for me, like when I stopped really liking 17, I got into it again like during quarantine. But when I stopped liking 17, that was the time they were already experimenting more with like the EDM concepts. And I wasn't really a fan of EDM. I was like a fan of like their more funkier sound. So I'm glad now that 17 like has like a good middle ground of their funkier sound and their EDM sound. But like during that time, it was the music that kind of like made me not want to follow 17 as much, which is sad because there's such, you know, the fandom is so chill in a way.
Not
and like
anymore.
them, yeah, and like
More.
they're so nice to watch.
Yeah.
But instead
Yeah.
with BTS, it wasn't the music; it's really just the fan base. It's like even as an older army, it's so hard to watch that the younger armies are a bit more are really chaotic, and like
Yeah.
the older ones just want to be like low key or like
Yeah.
try,
I agree.
they try to help out and like not try to quell the flames of the younger armies who are like medyo crazy,
Hmm.
but like it's not enough because there's like more people coming in and it's just
Yeah.
so hard to like
Yeah.
watch. But I still love
Ah,
BTS. It's just I don't want
for
to like
real.
be active in the
Yeah.
fandom.
Gets. I totally understand where
Mhm.
you're coming.
That's so true. And like I'm not a huge BTS fan myself, but their lyrics are just absolute fire. Like I love some of their
Yeah.
uh words, their lyrics, and I actually like Suga just because he's also a producer, and I love my beats, right? So
Yep.
I
Yep.
love
Yep.
Suga, I love RM because he's a rapper. But yeah, kaya sa mga army dyan, like let's relax, let's you know, let's not be toxic, and
True.
let's just love
Yeah.
our
It's just
music in
sad.
peace.
Mhm.
True.
Pero I think I'm like kind of glad is BTS doesn't always appear in year-end shows because especially I don't know like the year-end shows like as much as I like them, it's just the questionable quality of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Like
Mhm.
I think all of you guys remember like Wendy falling down the
Oh,
platform.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like that.
GDA. That was it. GDA. GDA.
Or SBS.
SBS.
Oh, basta
SBS.
yun.
SBS.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so bad, as in like, come on, a whole year of Red Velvet not having a comeback as a whole,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
just because
sucks.
they had to accidentally injure Wendy, and like seeing,
And it's
I'm
so sad pa kasi like, 'di ba, she's back and
Mm.
obvious na may ginawa sa face. But
yeah,
I still love her, of
I
course.
still love her. It's just so
It's just
sad,
sad because of that. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like, and like the fact that they said she shattered like her whole cheekbone pa. Like, what else could that do to the face? Like, oh. And then
Totoo.
another thing I remembered was like it wasn't just Red Velvet, like I think it was Mamamoo Solar. Like the photo of whatever fell on her
Oh.
pa and gave her
Oh my gosh,
minor injuries.
Oh,
I did-
man.
Wait, I think I heard that. But,
And twice I heard with like one says that twice we're so scared to perform because the stage
that
was
one.
so shaky and slippery.
Yeah, that one I saw on Twitter. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
So-
like it's sad because like I also heard this year Mama 2020 also was questionable that they were being the stadium was like right next to a building that was being made,
What?
so there's like a lot of dust, and like even like
Sure.
when they were rehearsing it was so dusty and they didn't have dressing rooms at all except for like
Mhm.
the hosts. Like all the groups were just chilling in their cars, masks
Oh my
on the whole
gosh.
time because they couldn't, if they like take their masks off to breathe, they're just breathing in construction dust.
Mhm.
Like just the car, like, that's where they were. That's their dressing room the whole day for
Gosh.
Mama. And like what?
Mama,
Yeah.
huh?
And that's Mama. And it's like what the heck?
Mhm. Yeah, that's why these huge companies really have to get their acts together. Like I was just getting into Red Velvet and I didn't even know that when the situation took place. So,
Yeah.
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 These big companies need to get their act together because there's gonna be
And
the fourth
we were-
gen, the fifth gen. So we gotta
Yeah.
protect our new
And
idols.
we were also all looking forward to Psycho because Psycho was such a bop, and then they couldn't. They just came back with it, right? When
Yeah, it was like
happened.
their first live performance of Psycho, and that happened.
Imagine everything we could have had.
Mhm.
And like another thing was right, she broke her hip, so it's like every
Yeah.
time I remember that, I just remember Super Junior's Hichol and how he couldn't dance anymore because of
Yeah.
his broken
The car accident.
of his leg. Yeah, like what more Wendy in a few years na it could happen the same thing. It's her hip.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to think na. I don't know. It's like I feel bad for a lot of idols. Like
For
if
sure.
if they get injured, like it's like it can be career ending in a way. Like I know
Yeah.
the boys as well. Like he injured his ankle so bad that he had to quit the boy. He had to leave the boys.
Mm.
Like, what else for other idols?
But like I get it, but injuries are always like it's a part
They're
of
inevitable.
performer of being a performer. But I mean I had some injuries myself, bad ones too. But you as you said, career ending ones, those are the sad ones. Kasi parang you're so ready to just take on the world, doing what you love, and then because of just an injury, you won't be able to, diba? So sad.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say because like Wendy's I'm gonna say I love Wendy and she's so lucky that she could dance after like a year of rehab, and she's like at the very most like she's pretty it's almost back to normal for Red Velvet. Like hopefully this will come back soon.
Yeah, please after Shine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, SM word them leaks.
Yeah, right. Like I'm so excited because we were, you guys who are actual ReVeluvs have been waiting for a year. Because I know what it's like to wait. I know what it's like to wait.
3 years. Almost 3 years. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
So I would be excited. Kasi ako excited na ako. Hindi pa ako talaga full-blown ReVeluv. Paano kaya kayo, di ba?
I mean, or you know, waiting forever but being paasa lang. FX.
Oh, yeah. For
That's the paasa life. But like,
yeah. Never mind. Sorry. Naalala ko lang, like, kasi parang may nakita ko sa Twitter na, congratulations, ReVeluvs. Red Velvet's hiatus has surpassed Blackpink's, or parang, parang, diba? Kasi I think Blackpink hasn't come back in a while, and then I think Blinks are counting the days na hindi sila nagka-comeback, and ReVeluvs are also counting the days that Red Velvet hasn't come back. So parang I think last week, one of the days last week, parang may nakita akong tweet. Congrats, ReVeluvs, we surpassed Blackpink. Blink, waiting, parang ganon. Like it's been like parang kunyari it's been a week that Red Velvet hasn't come back, even though parang ganon. Basta, grabe.
But at the very least, it's understandable kasi with Blackpink, it's like, it's YG that's not letting them have comebacks. Like with Red Velvet, it's just injury. And like, I just feel bad when I think of Blackpink. It's the fact that it's like only now they have a full album and the songs. My friends who have it, it's like they love the album but they hate they're calling it an album but it's more like a mini album lang.
Yeah.
And
how many songs?
I think there's 9 songs for the album. And like for them it's like how long did Blinks have to wait just to get more from Blackpink, and only to have just 8 more songs added to the repertoire. Like, True. I don't know. I just really feel bad for Blinks that they're just being served scraps most of the time. Like, sad.
No, even though they're just served like crumbs, Blackpink's so big, no? Like they have so much fans. It's cool. I'm so amazed kasi kahit anong comeback, kahit anong song ilabas nila, it's gonna be a hit song because of their very big fan base.
But another thing I'm like scared of lang is like kung Blackpink, themselves are just gonna be like, they're like how they're only allowed like a comeback at least once a year lang.
Wow.
Like if they themselves are just gonna get fed up with it, and by the time their contracts end, they just yeet out of YG because honestly that looks like that might happen to Blackpink because they're just fed up of waiting and being delayed all the time.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Which is why to the big groups, YG, SM, SBS, JYP, get your crap together. Like you really have to get your stuff together. Because I'm sick and tired of seeing these fan bases starve, and I'm also sick and tired of hearing stories of idols getting exploited. And we also don't like to hear these accidents taking place. And most importantly, we don't like to see K-pop idols taking their lives due to excessive pressure and major depression. So again, RIP to Sully, RIP to Jonghyun. And I'm just happy.
RIP to Huhara.
yeah, RIP to Guhara as well. And I'm just happy that Wendy's back. She's healthy. And if anything, for me, I know we all want to see Red Velvet back, but I'm also pretty excited for Wendy's solo career because I personally believe she could take the Taeyeon route because of how great of a singer she is. So if there's a silver lining to all this stuff, I think her solo career is about to take off sooner rather than later.
Another thing, like since you mentioned the mental health stuff, it's like honestly, it's just so crazy that I don't know, it's like mostly now it's good it's being touched upon more. But like I remembered reading before like how SM Entertainment, like I wasn't there when it happened, but like I remember like they said that they had an actual club for like idols who were depressed in SM. Yeah, it was like called the Milk Club or something, and then like I forgot who were the idols in it, but I think like Super Junior, like on the top of my head it was like Super Junior's Itok, SNSD Taeyeon, I forgot. It was like mostly the second gen. It was mostly in second gen pa. Like a lot of them were like it was their support group. I think Jonghyun was also part. And like it's like really concerning. It's concerning to hear that. It's concerning to hear that they have a depression support group. Like it's good that they have a support group, but it's so concerning that wow, it's a lot of people from just 4 groups in SM. And like I'm glad now it's addressed, but it's.
I think the in general, like being an artist in Korea just puts a lot of pressure on you. Right. Just being an artist itself. So me even like just training pa lang to debut is already very stressful as we can see sa mga Produce 101, the survival shows, we kind of see what they go through. Imagine pa if there are no cameras around, right? So and even like behind the scenes, as we always say in our podcast also, we just see what they want us to see. So we don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
For sure.
It's for sure. Yeah, it's probably a good thing too that they have that like kind of circle that they can just like support each other. Kasi the fans, we can only do so much for them, right? Even though we love them to bits and pieces, we really can't help them. We can just be there to support them, cheer for them, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be them together talking to each other about their experiences and stuff like that.
Because they all have the same experiences in different ways. But and there's another thing, like you mentioned Produce 101, like oh my gosh, like Jake, do you know what's happened with the whole controversies with Produce? It's so crazy.
I heard. Wait.
I just heard rumors about.
It was the X one. Yeah, I like just heard about that. I didn't follow Produce because I don't like survival shows. I don't like. I told you I get attached.
Yeah.
So I would follow them siguro afterwards if they weren't going to like break
disband.
Up. Yeah, but I knew that they were going to eventually, so I just didn't follow them. So to save myself a break.
I followed in passing, but like basically the scandals of Produce is like it started I think during season 2 pa lang that some trainees, especially the ones who ranked lower, said that they were treated much worse than the ones who were ranked higher. Like they were only like, let's say like the ones who were ranked higher can get food before everyone else. So it's like from A to F. And by the time they reached like the F class trainees, they were only fed rice and like maybe some vegetables if they were lucky, I think. And then there was the lower ranking trainees are only given like less time to use the practice room, or were given like we were the last people who get to use the practice rooms for Produce, and like oh my god, that was like a season.
If ganun ka, diba? Like if you're given lesser time to practice, the more that you'll be staying in that class, right? Like
and you're gonna get eliminated, God.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And like you're lucky if you have like something to get the camera on you. Like for Newey, even though they were sadly in the first episodes ranked pretty low.
Yeah.
Like they had the whole story of their whole, this is their last resort to actually stay as a group.
Yeah.
They kept the cameras on them. It's a good storyline for Mnet to milk.
Yep.
But and then like more allegations came out. By the time Ajuan came out, like the final lineup for Ajuan came out, that's when like the allegations of vote rigging started.
Yeah. That one I kind of also read in passing. I didn't follow it because it was too much for me.
It was just a rumor that it was rigged because it was like, wait, like they were confused at first because it wasn't as halata during season 2. It wasn't halata at all for the first season, but by produced 48, it was like, how did Kaon go from a girl who ranked in the top 12 every episode fall into the late teens in the ranking? That's for them. It's like confusing. And like, how did Jo Yuri, the main vocalist of Ajuan, like get from a rank of like I think 18 all the way to number 3? That was like people were questioning how did that happen. And like another one, like people were questioning how did Sakura go from number 1. Like Sakura was like the person they thought was gonna be the center by the end of it. Like
Isn't
the Johnson? No, it's Jang Wanyang. Yeah, it's
my gosh! All this time I thought Sakura was the center.
Like that was like a point of conflict for people because like Sakura ranked 2, but everyone assumed she would have been the first. She would have been center, and like supposedly people were thinking that Sakura just got less votes because the Korean public didn't want a Japanese to be the center of this group. And by the time X1 came out, everyone really just questioned things because a lot of the guys, I think some trainees from the companies that bought votes in or bought their members into the group were like kind of bragging that they kind of knew the dances, or they got the training, or they got like tips much earlier. And like the eliminated trainees started going online and saying out about those things, and then they started having an investigation on Mnet, and they found out
that one I think I saw also.
They found out that they a lot of the people in the X1 lineup, a lot of the members in the X1 lineup was rigged in, and then the investigation also showed a lot of Ajuan members were rigged in. And I think like it went all the way up to season 1 pa. Like one of the IOI girls was rigged in. Season 2, 2 of the 101 boys were rigged in. And season 3, it was like I think 3 or 4 of the girls in Ajuan was rigged in. And what they did then is like they rigged the vote. I think that what they said was they rigged the votes that said Jang Won-young from Starship would get a higher rank than Miyawaki Sakura from I forgot what HKT48, because they would, it's an attractive thing to have a Japanese center. And then I don't know about X1 how many boys there, but a lot of them were rigged in.
Because their contract was supposed to last for 5 years. Yeah. Correct? Yeah. And it just became 8 months because of this, right? Because of that issue. Parang ganon.
Not even 8 months. I remember like they debuted and disbanded within like 2 months.
God.
With like after their debut with Flash, I think 2 weeks into their debut, that's when the allegations came out, and then by the end of that was like by Jan 30, I think. Yeah. All the companies were like trying to get their boys out of X1 to save face at this point, and oh my gosh, that's why they had to disband. They just grabbed all their boys out.
Imagine though, imagine if you were one of those people that got rigged in. Like imagine, all of you, because all of you have the same dream of performing on stage, debuting. And like, imagine if you were one of those members that were actually rigged in, and you didn't know that your company rigged you in or something, or maybe you knew. But imagine if you knew also. If you didn't know, wouldn't that be such a slap to your face? Because like, I thought, is it just a lie? Everyone's lying to me. I'm not actually supposed to debut right now. It's kind of sad, and I feel bad for the members also, even though I don't follow them. Diba? Imagine
Every
in
victim there except for the companies and CGNM, I think.
yeah.
And then,
diba?
with Aijuan, I remember because people were pissed off that X1 had to disband. So people were, I think, also trying to call Aijuan to disband too.
Yeah.
Which is hard because at that point, Aijuan was already an established group. Now, like I
Yeah.
think they were like a year and a half into their debut when this whole thing came out.
Did
And
they
like
also
it's
disband already?
no, they still have a few more months in their contract, I think, because I
Okay.
know their contract was. Oh wait, IOI was like a year.
Yeah.
101 is a
IOI.
year and a half.
A year old. Yeah.
Aijuan is 2.5 years.
Oh. Yeah.
And
Because I know 101 was supposed to be also just a year long, but they kind of extended for a bit, right?
With Aijuan, they were in the middle of their contracts when this happened, and they already had so much sponsorship deals and brand deals. So
Yeah.
I remember the explanation of why they don't want to disband Aijuan is there's so much money in the Aijuan brand, so much deals and contracts involved that if you disband Aijuan, you're gonna be in so much like legal problems,
Yeah.
like
Sure,
compared
yeah.
to disbanding X1.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Wow.
honestly, this is like I think the biggest reason why it's Mnet pala. This is the biggest reason why it stemmed to having problems in getting boy groups for Kingdom.
Oh yeah. Because I also heard parang meron before na rumors like which groups are gonna come in for Kingdom, and then 17 was also like rumored to be like considering to New West and 17 were like considered to show up on Kingdom, but they declined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know for Kingdom, the boys really got their spot from Road to Kingdom.
Yeah.
And
They're awesome. Their performances are so good.
then 80s and Stray Kids is a given because they are big rising top fourth
Yeah.
gen groups.
Yeah.
Icon, I'm thinking they're there because it's hard to recover after Hanbin leaving the group.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then SF9, they got really popular because I only heard this from a friend who stands them, but because the boys of SF9 do acting gigs, they're like, it really brought up SF9's popularity.
Oh.
Like they're not that popular internationally, but they are popular domestically because of their actor members.
Gotcha.
And then I know B2B, it's a last resort because Ilhun
Yeah.
got into that scandal,
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
it's just something to keep B2B afloat because now it's gonna be hard and like oh no.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but the thing with Kingdom is it's different naman with
Kingdom in a way.
yeah, like no, like with produce and the it's
Yeah.
the concept's different naman.
Different, but
And it's per group, not like what happened with New West, because New West, yeah, right. So that was their last resort for that.
we have to explain. Okay, so basically, Produce 101 Jake is this survival
Sorry, Jake.
reality.
Sorry, Jake.
Survival
I thought you
reality
knew.
show
No,
on
I've heard of
Mnet.
it.
It's basically they get 101 trainees from different
Yeah.
companies, and it's basically every week it's people vote who from voting plus judges scores who should be in the final lineup of the group.
Big Four.
Yeah. So
Right.
by the time they get to the top 11, those are gonna be the people who get an exclusive contract to promote with this temporary group for a certain amount of time.
Mhm.
But the scandals arose that companies are buying in their trainees
Yep.
to be in the group. So it lessened the trust for Mnet's Mnet survival and reality shows,
Yeah.
because now it's like you don't want to be associated with that.
Oh no.
So it's a big gamble. So Kingdom and its original first season, Queendom,
Yep.
is this show about like different K-pop groups going at it at each other in live performances and voting to see who can win a live comeback showcase on national TV.
Mhm.
Because like a lot of times like comeback showcases are like online lang or like
Yep.
Yeah.
just like limited to your fans can watch. But like
Yep.
it's a big deal if live TV will be able to watch your
Comeback.
national TV could be able to watch your comeback show because
True.
it's the biggest promotion. It's a bigger promotion than a music show at this point. So it happened to Queendom and Mamamoo won first season.
Mhm.
And that was
Yeah.
before the whole scandals thing. So like groups who were like big in Korea, like Mamamoo, groups that are rising at that time, like G-Idol, Oh My Girl, and
Yep.
Lovelies. And then
Yeah.
like groups or a soloist in Park Bom's case whose like time in the limelight has dimmed and this is their redemption arc. So
Yep.
they all got there and it's like, bam, Queendom was the thing of the season.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then by the time they got to then the next one was Road to Kingdom, where
Yep.
it's
Right.
one of these up and coming boy groups in Korea. Like they either have never really hit it big yet,
Yep.
or maybe they kind of hit it big one viral time, but something happened. They go on it to be ensured a slot in Kingdom the next year, where they're fighting bigger boy groups.
Yeah.
So during Road to Kingdom, the boys won, so they have a slot for Kingdom. And so now during Kingdom, it's a battle between three rising popular boy groups. The boys, who is rising and popular, but like not to the level of where their fourth gen contemporaries like ATs, Stray Kids,
Yeah.
and supposedly SF9 domestically are. And then a big group that had a really bad thing, two older groups that had really bad scandals happen to them, which affected their popularity. So like Icon and B2B. So now they're battling it out to have a comeback showcase on Mnet, so that it's like their for B2B and for Icon. I think it's like it's not really their last resort, but more
Or
on
an attempt
it's an
to
attempt
get back
where they were.
contract. Yep.
Because
Yep.
and I know is B2B and Icon are near the ends of their contract. So if they even if they don't win, they're still gonna win at least enough fans back or enough attention back into their groups, because they're in really deep poop right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
agree.
that's Idol and that's Queen. That's Kingdom and Queendom. If you want to watch it, it's like all online. Fun performance.
I think right now is Kingdom like what? Pang anong week na nila? Like what?
Hindi, it's just the start.
I know it's ongoing right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's the
Kasi
start.
I know
pala.
it's ongoing.
It's the introduction. It's the introduction videos palang. Like the groups do their first intro performances, because
I see.
I know the first episode's coming out April.
Oh,
So this is like the preliminary round of voting.
Gotcha.
Wow, that's so
if you
much.
watch,
That's so much stuff to unpack, and
Yeah.
definitely gonna
there's a lot.
check these out. But yeah,
Check it out.
wow, that's so much stories, so much sharings, and
Absolutely.
I'm looking at our timer right now, and like it's been like an hour and a half. And actually, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's been 2 hours. Like
Hours already.
that's
Oh
how
my
much
God.
stuff you can talk about, with K-pop, and
Yeah.
it was worth it. And I'm sure we did not tackle a lot more. Like there's so many more topics.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, since to be honest, like I was just listening in because I thought
Yeah.
I was a big stan, but yun pala, there are 2 more knowledgeable stands beside me right now, and that's actually good, because I'm sure, yung mga fans ko, they're all tired of putting up with my voice, so it's good to hear other voices naman still or get the airtime. But I guess for me, like I said before I got into K-pop, K-R&B was my thing. And
Yeah.
I just want to let you guys know that Dean, Zion T, and Crush. They're basically the holy trinity of Korean R&B.
Yes, R&B. Dean though.
I love Dean.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
Did you see the video where Dean was having an IG live and then in the middle of it he falls down the
I saw
stairs?
that. Yeah, I think that was so funny. Yeah, I saw that. I remember it.
And people said you guys laughing at Dean for falling down the stairs would be the reason he doesn't come out with a song in the next few months.
So awesome.
Yeah, and I just also love Zion T because one of his songs, I think Hello Tutorial, that featured Solgi of
With
Red
Solgi.
Velvet.
Yeah!
So, you know,
Yes.
he loves Red Velvet as much as we do, so that's why we love Zion T. Besides K-R&B, I also love, obviously I love rap. That was my original favorite genre before K-pop came into my life. But of course, I stand Jessie, CL, and Amber of FX. They have the best bars, they have the best flow. And yeah, these are just some of my favorite underrated artists that are not really mainstream, but you know, they're on heavy rotation on my daily Spotify's. So
yes.
I guess before we do go, you know, I have one quick question, and I know I kind of roasted the big companies, and rightfully so, because you know, the artist is more important. You know, the companies, they're gonna be fine, but just seeing these artists kind of suffering under their hands, it's not a good look for them, and it leaves a bad taste on all of our mouths. But if we were to give them, you know, their praises for a little bit, among the big three, like who's the best one? JYP, SM Town, or YG?
You know. We actually have an episode on Spill the Soju talking about the big three already. And we kind of ranked them. Like, if you guys watch it, I think it was episode 8. I don't know. I don't remember. But we do have an episode titled The Big Three. And we ranked them from vocals, dance, concepts, visuals, all that. And like our conclusion was that there's no top ones, like in general, especially with promotions, because all three of them kind of like So like I guess I don't really have a favorite. I was an SM stan personally. I was an SM stan starting out, but of course, you know, all the trust issues that happen, all the scandals that, you know, all the leaving in the group, all the, you know, just, it was crazy. It was a crazy time for me, and I kind of drifted away from SM. Now I'm just, for me, there's not one that I actually like the most, but probably JYP's groups. I don't know. Yeah, but like they all handle, because I think they kind of all handle it so differently, like especially when it comes to issues. The three of them like just handle stuff
differently,
sure.
And sometimes it's just like may masabi lang, like parang it doesn't help end the case at all. So like yeah, I can't choose one personally. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm also
I
the
can't
same.
choose one. You first, Jake.
Yeah, no, because I was just thinking about it, and you know, if you're talking about musical style, obviously YG, because they're the R&B side, and I love a lot of YG artists. Other than Blackpink, you know, there's Lee High, there's Epic High.
Which is not in YG anymore, but yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, he's like, I think
Akmu's
still there.
Yeah.
Hopefully they still stay, but I don't think with how YG handles all their artists, I don't think anyone's staying long.
For sure.
If you're not Big Bang.
So yeah, YG in terms of genre, but we all know what happened there, right? So that's YG. Of course, JYP. I think he's like the least evil, because you know what they say, pick the lesser evil. But JYP is definitely that, but he's not spared from his own scandals and all that. And then the only reason why I kind of like SM is because my favorite girl group is there, like among Twice, Red Velvet, and Blackpink. I'm sorry to all the Blinks and the Ones. Like, please don't flame me as soon as you see this video again. But you know, I'm just a ReVeluv, you know. So that's where my SM bias comes from. But besides these groups, there are also other labels that I like, and I know these labels really take great care of their artists. So, for one, you have P Nation. That's where Crush
Oh,
E
is.
Nation, yes, yes, yes.
And,
That's where Hyuna and Edon went.
Yep.
That's where Jessie is.
Yeah, that's where Jessie is.
All
They're
hail
just like,
Sai.
taking them one by one.
All hail Sai.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So there's P Nation.
I'm so excited for him.
Mhm. So other than P Nation, there's also AOMG. I love AOMG because that's
where Ihai is now.
where Lehigh is. I love the
And
CEO.
Happy!
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. And who's that?
J Park.
Yogyam ba? Yogyam from GOT7 went there?
Yeah, they're all there. I mean, he's there.
Mm.
Just it.
And yeah, we can't forget about J Park. He's the best boss out of all of them.
Yeah. Mm.
And of course, you can't forget about Adam Entertainment because IU. That's where she's from.
Oh yeah.
And I heard like they really take great care of their staff,
Mhm.
their team members. So of course we can't forget Adam. So yeah, those are like the extra labels that I love. Just because they're underrated, but more importantly, they really take great care of the artists. So
Yeah. Yeah.
no favorites. I just want
Yeah.
groups and
I
companies
feel like though,
that
I
take
feel
care
like
of the artists.
AOMG and Nation, they're actually like they're getting known by the day. Yeah, because like the idols are coming there. They're all going there now.
Yeah. How about you, Nikki? Do you have a particular bias?
No, because honestly, they're all bad in their own ways, but they're all good in their own ways. Like I love a lot of SM Town. I love like the style then of YG and how YG artists are given more freedom to do their music.
Mhm.
But I love JYP for how well, except for GOT7, how and Miss A. Wonder.
Yeah.
Never mind, never mind.
Never mind.
What do I love about JYP? Like, I'm not really a big fan of their groups, but I do like how, for me, like I noticed with JYP groups is they leave JYP without so much bad blood to JYP himself
Mhm.
or the company. Like, yeah, maybe like I know with Miss A between Suji and the others, there's bad blood, but then between them and JYP, there's none.
Mhm.
And like, I'm very sure maybe GOT7 doesn't really have that much beef with JYP. I think they just hate how they were promoted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I think relationship wise or how they were treated, JYP slightly does it better. Slightly. On like a lot of JYP songs are bops.
Yeah.
JYP group songs are bops.
For sure.
But the thing is also like that, yeah. I think what we have to remember also at the end of the day, these are companies and they actually make money out of these people. So,
Mhm.
what they say about big corporations, they kind of exploit their employees and stuff. I think this is like similar to that. So it's all at the end of the day, it's a money making business, and it's kind of
Sure.
sad that it's kind of sad that it's these big ones that are doing bad, wrong.
And not even the big ones, because there's a lot of even
Smaller
the
ones,
smaller
yeah.
ones are just
Yes,
as
really.
bad. So honestly, it's like you can't. I hope one day like there's a change in the system.
Yeah.
Like, because honestly, I feel bad when I think of like like when I think of idols and sometimes how young they debut. Like Taemin was like 15, 14 when he debuted, and like I know a lot of like idols like they're just so content with graduating high school lang, or even worse, they drop out before they can
Yeah.
even graduate. And like
Yeah.
for me, I wish there's a change in the system that allowed idols to have that normal life in a way, or to normalize older idols, because honestly, it's like I feel bad. I feel for the children who grow up having their
Mhm.
career at the teens, because
Yep.
that's all they'll ever know as a person. It's
So true. So true.
Yeah.
So true.
But yeah, that's for me. Like, there's no good, there's no bad, and I really
Mhm.
hope that there's a big change in the industry to not exploit idols as much as they do.
Yeah. True.
For sure. So, wow, guys, That's a lot. We talked about so much stuff, and I honestly just let the both of you do the talking because, again, I am just a casual K-pop stan. Even though I super love IU, I super love Red Velvet, and I also love Dara. By the way,
Yes.
our very own.
Of course, our very own Krum Krum.
But yeah, like
Love her.
you guys did great. You know, like the both of you. Want to thank the two of you for carrying this episode. Like I was just a mere spectator, and that's completely fine because I have no clue outside of being a ReVeluv, being a Uaena, and all that. There's so much stuff pala that happens in the industry, and I was more than happy to have the both of you like filled all that up.
Thanks.
So, major thanks.
Happy to be here. We're happy to be here. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks for having me again.
Mhm.
Hopefully,
And
we have like a part 3 of this.
Oh, there will
And
be,
maybe we can,
for sure.
and maybe by then Chelsea and Ashley are free na, so there's more of
Yes.
us, talking, and
For
we'll
sure.
probably. Please do expect us to have you guys over on Spill the Soju sometime
yes, please.
soon, maybe.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Maybe-
Yeah, basta within the year. We're running
Oh, yeah.
out of guests, so
Yes, I'm more than welcome. I'm more than welcome, guys.
yeah,
Baka the next time we all like meet again here, we
yeah.
can talk like we talked about the medyo lighter side. Maybe
Yeah.
Yes.
the darker side of K-pop. Like,
And by then, probably Jake's like, oh, I know how I have a lot of inputs na, ganun.
my knowledge is deepened. I have been
Yeah.
ascended,
Yeah.
transcended.
Yes, that's for sure. And once again, the internet won today. So unfortunately, we're not live anymore. Once you're hearing
But it's
this right now,
okay.
it's pre-recorded. But the good thing is I was able to record this on my OBS, so I will be able
That's
to re-upload everything that we talked about either early morning or tomorrow. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. And internet, once again, you win. But please, hopefully sa mga susunod na streams, I might even go back to just going pre-recorded at this point because this is not the first time that I lagged.
Happen.
So
Aw.
you might not see me live anymore. It was nice trying it out, but bumigay na yung Wi-Fi namin dito. So sorry guys, you're gonna have to just hear the pre-recorded version again. But don't worry because we're gonna keep engaging pa rin as we always do. So before you do go, do you guys have any plugs that you would like to share?
Just
Of course, Kaydii over there. Go ahead and
Yeah.
spill your soju soju pod.
yeah. So if you guys enjoyed, wow. So if you guys enjoyed this, we also do this week, twice a month. Over at Spill the Soju podcast, we talk about K-pop and everything K-culture, and we're also on Twitter and Instagram. Spill the Soju on Twitter and Spill the Soju podcast on Instagram, and my Stan account if you guys want to follow me. I'm John Kwanu Wo on Twitter, as in John Wonu and Kwon Sun Young with the word Wo at the end. Yeah, my biases right here. But yeah, that's me. Kaydii.
All right.
You can follow me on my Instagram at it's Niki with 1K. I do have a Stan account, but it's on private and it's been hiatus since 2018. So,
No worries.
but it had a
Okay.
cute name. It was also 17 related. It was Junghan's. It was Junghan's ponytail. Rest in peace to the ponytail.
Mhm. All right. So those are their plugs. Those are their Stan accounts. I don't know if I'll make a Stan account myself. I already have 2 IG accounts to deal with, but we'll see. But if you want to check me out on IG for the pod is at joat.pod.delro. So once again, it is at joat.pod.delro. For the private naman, it is at Jake_Delro. On Twitter, it is at _Del_Ro_. On Facebook naman, it is at facebook.com/joat.pod.delro. So it's just like my IG podcast page. Or if you just want to search it on the search tab, it is Jake of All Trades with Delro. This podcast can be streamed, televised, viewed, and listened to on the following platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, Breaker, YouTube, and if my Wi-Fi wants to cooperate with me again, Facebook Live. Yep. So that was a fun episode, guys. Thank you for hopping on tonight. And Stan Red Velvet, Stan IU,
Yeah.
Yes.
Stan 17,
Yes. Yes. Stand shining.
Yes.
Stan Shiny.
Shining's back.
Mhm.
Shiny's back.
Shiny's back. Yep. So with that out of the way, that's a wrap, y'all. Thank you for tuning in today,
Thank
mga
you.
Del Bros and Sisters. This has been your one and only JOAT. She's Niki, she's Kaydii from the Spill the Soju podcast, and we are all signing out. Hanggang sa susunod na usapan at chikahan. See ya and saranghe, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.